everyone, and welcome to our Thursday practitioner call. It's 9 a.m. Pacific. So happy to have all of you with us today. Our practitioner call is always super special because this call was created by practitioners for practitioners, as well as all the clients they serve. And Dr. Patty is here with us. Dr. Patty is a medical doctor from San Clemente, California, and she's also an integrative and a regenerative doctor. And she found our technology about 3 months ago. And so it's always exciting when she can join us on the call. So this call is a little different than our testimonial calls in the evening in that we go through the technology, we go through why doctors like it and how they're using it in their practice. And we go through more than just the X39 stem cell activation patch. We actually go through usually 4 or 5 different technologies a little deeper. And then we round robin with the practitioners as well on what they have been experiencing in their clinic, as well as for themselves personally. And at the very end, probably the last 10 minutes, we talk a little bit about how practitioners can actually get their offices set up so that they can get it to their clients. So that's what this call's about. And Dr. Patty, we didn't get you last week, so why don't we unmute you today? We have 77 people listening, and it sounds like we have some new practitioners. So maybe you can tell people exactly what your credentials are and how you found the X39 stem cell activation patch and why you're using it in clinic.
Yeah, so you went out on me just there at the very end. So I'm hoping everyone can hear me.
We hear you so good.
Oh, okay, great. So I'm Patty. It's so nice to meet all of you. If I haven't met you before, I was introduced to X39 by one of my patients who was having some really good results with it. She was using X39 and Icewave for dental pain. And when she began to talk about it, I have chronic pain and I wanted to get a chance to try that out, but I was very skeptical, of course. So I began to investigate. Her gynecologist had recommended it. So I touched base with another physician to see what she thought, because she'd been doing it for a while. And so I started it for myself in May. And I just, I love the patches. What more can I say? They're great.
Right. And let's talk about what patch she was introduced to. This is the X39 stem cell activation patch, and it is a technology created by David Schmidt. He's the owner, founder, and CEO of Lifewave. And David actually started this company in 2005. And the way this company even began was with something called the energy patch, and it was for the Navy SEALs. You see, David is a pretty famous inventor, and he was actually inventing technology for the Navy. And it's an interesting story. When he actually showed the technology for the Navy, there was some different contractors showing technology. And they didn't actually pick this technology for submarines back in the day. And we're really blessed, because had they picked that technology from him, do you know, we wouldn't be here today. But because, you know, I just want to say, like, sometimes things that you think don't work out, when you're kind of like, gosh, why didn't that work out? And then later you see like maybe the reason why. And so anyway, that didn't work out for David. But then they remembered him because his technology was so good. And so they called him up and they said, do you think you could figure out a technology for our boys? Because we need to figure out how to keep them up at night without stimulants. And that was the beginning of the energy patch. And the energy patch actually converts fat into energy. And it actually increases the mitochondria of every cell in the body. I was looking for an energy sleeve to show you all, but I don't know. My It's my son's new favorite patch because it also helps with the brain spin. And so I think he took it from me, but there it is. That's called the energy. See, Jana, mute yourself and say energy. So they see it on the tape. Can you unmute yourself and say
I
energy?
did. Here's the energy.
There it is. I found it too. Energy. You could say thank you to David that started our company in 2005. But he was way ahead of his time because these patches are non-transdermal. There is no caffeine in this, right? There's nothing in the patch. It's actually reflects back your own light through crystals in this patch. And so it was like this new idea of wearable light technology, and nobody had ever heard of that before. And so the company was started. It really helped the Navy SEALs. And David, in 2005, just started creating all this new technology. Did you know he has 100 patents and 100 research articles? And he's kind of a genius, right? The owner of our company. I just want us to understand, like, he never lost his company. He's still the owner, and he never stops creating. I just think it's really cool. Like, that's what we work for, right? And so David basically was like ahead of his time, and the company was doing about 30 million a year, but still nobody really fully understood this thing called light. I mean, let's think about it. The last, 20 years, what's been going on for people's health in the last 20 years? A lot of pharmaceuticals. And then we went into supplements, some whole food. And then all of a sudden, this thing called light came. And now you hear about what? Laser, you hear about red light, you hear about red light sauna, right? So now people are talking about light, even in the world of MDs, right? It's moving into light. I was at a physical therapy place the other day, and with my broken wrist, they said, well, why don't we put some cold laser on that? Those are forms of light, right? So all of a sudden, people are understanding that that's real. And that's when this came out in 2018. This is David's really workhorse of the line. This is stem cell activation technology. And I know you want to see what it looks like, right? It looks like a Band-Aid. And when you open it up, inside, this is the organic crystal that is on the wearable light technology. And did you know this gets made right in David's labs? Everything David does is vertically integrated. So that is organic crystal. It is non-transdermal. There's no stem cells in this, right? This is crystal because it turns out that we reflect light. We are light beings. Isn't that cool? That's why, like in the military, they do the night vision. And at night, you can see people through these goggles because we have light coming off our body. So David figured out how to trap the light with this Band-Aid. Call it the Band-Aid light trapper. And it reflects back a light wave into your body. And that light wave activates this really important peptide called GHK copper peptide. You can go research that. You'll find it's the holy grail of anti-aging. And one of the things that GHK copper peptide does so well is it calls your stem cells up, your dormant stem cells, and it says, hey, stem cells, it's time to get marching again. It's time to work. And it activates them again. And why is activating your dormant stem cells important? Because by age 60, they pretty much stop marching. Have you ever wondered, like, why at age 60 you look so much older than you did when you were 20? Has anybody ever asked themselves? I did this yesterday. I looked at myself in the mirror and I said to myself, why do I look so much older at 55 than at 20? And I had one of those it's not fair moments. Has anybody ever had it? It's not fair moment? Because when you're 20, you don't realize how beautiful you really are. Like, and now you're like, what? That's because your stem cells are working, right? They're working because stem cells are the only cells in your body that are changeable. They can change into whatever cells your body needs for repair, just like when you were 20. So did you ever have gray hair when you were 20? Kathy Coker, I bet you weren't gray when you were 20. No. Did you ever have wrinkles when you were 20, Jan Rand? No, because everything was marching and repairing. So what happens if you put this patch on and you start activating those stem cells and start repairing again like you're 20, right? Those stem cells in your body, ready for this? They're not dead. They're dormant. They just needed to be woken up again. And so David figured out how to do that with this X39 stem cell activation patch. And it was the perfect marriage of stem cell. And by the way, GHKcu peptide, which is a protein in your body, is the waker-upper of the stem cells, right? So it's your own body doing it, right? So it's the perfect marriage of stem cell activation and light. And guess what happened with that perfect marriage? The company in 2005 was doing something like 30 million a year. Then we went to 300 million. And now we're at about $450 million. So did we find a technology that is working? I would think so, because, you know, people's testimonials and then the sales of the company don't lie. Something's going on that's working. So Dr. Patty, can you unmute yourself and explain this thing called GHK copper peptide? Explain this thing called stem cell. Like, from a doctor perspective, what does this all mean?
Well, I went to medical school midlife. It was my second career. And I went because I wanted to get sort of the credentials of Western medicine, but I had always studied all different forms of regenerative and integrative functional medicine. And so I kept doing that on the side. And in the process, when I got done with medical school.
Oh, sorry, Patty, unmute yourself. I was muting that beautiful dog bark and I accidentally muted you too. So unmute yourself, Patty, please.
I think it might have been the dog, some dog outside of me, outside of my place, maybe. But anyway, and so I just got done with medical school, worked at Kaiser, sort of a traditional job for a while. And then I'm in preventive and occupational medicine, environmental medicine, and internal medicine as well. But I wanted to do more of the regenerative and functional medicine. And so that's what I began to do. And we were doing stem cells, for patients. We were doing injectable peptides like GHK copper. And so that was what really pricked my interest about the patches, because the stem cells now are no longer available in the United States like we were using as of about a year and a half ago. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful thing to have a patch that could activate and enhance your own stem cells. So much less expensive and certainly no needles. What a wonderful thing. But could that possibly be true? Was going through my mind. And that's when I began to do some investigation and realized we did have about 70 studies around all of this technology. And I became convinced that it was safe and effective. Same with peptides. Peptides are, just short chain amino acids we make in our own body. And if we can enhance the working of those, what a wonderful thing. And GHK copper was one of my favorite injectables. I used it as an injectable for myself and for my patients. And it's very effective, but it's expensive and it requires a needle. And many patients don't want to use a needle on themselves. So a patch is super, super good. So I love the safetyness. There's not actually GHK copper in that patch. It's activating your own body to work. And I love that because that makes it safe. And then if we see the effectiveness of it, we're just very happy with what we're doing.
So when you say that in clinic, you used to, this blows me away. She's an MD, so she can do injectables, right? Dr. Patty was doing stem cell injections. And just wondering, I didn't really say this, but you can wear one of these X39 stem cell activation patches, if you look at that, for about less than a cup of coffee a day. We're talking $100 a month for 30-day supply, something like $3 a day. You can activate your own stem cells. Reasonable. Okay. We're not like way overpriced. So when you were doing stem cell injections, like what does that cost?
So we use stem cells as injections, would be several $1,000s. We use stem cells as IVs, same thing. And also we use stem cells intranasally back up towards being deposited right at the base of the brain for neurological conditions. And so all of them, anywhere from $1,500 to, maybe 10, 15,000. They're expensive. It's very expensive to use those.
And then in the United States, just to understand this, MDs cannot inject stem cells anymore, or what's that?
No, if you can go to a physician that actually draws stem cells out of your own body, like your bone marrow or your fat, and redeposits them back into your own body the same day. That is still legal to do. But we were using stem cells from sterile C-sections that, cord blood and we know that cord tissue and cord blood are very effective. And so that's what we were using, and that is not allowed in the United States to be used anymore in that way.
So if you want to get stem cells that are not from your own body, you're out of country now. You're going to Mexico or something. Is that correct?
Yes, or Europe. Most countries still do it because it is safe and effective, but it is of course, much more expensive because there's so much more involved in it, so much more technique in administering it, so much more liability insurance that the doctor has to have to do it, and all those kinds of things. So it gets expensive.
So did you find that that was an effective way of resetting? Or I guess I've always wondered what the difference is. I mean, the price, of course, but that this is activating your own stem cells all the time. And, I would think that stem cells, because our own go dormant, so this reactivates them to work again. I would even think injections, aren't going to live forever. Like those are going to because they're not being activated. There's nothing telling them that to continue to work. So I would think that they would have kind of a short lifespan.
So it depended on the patient. Part of what they did was not only introduce new stem cells into your body, but also activate your stem cells too. So it was both. But for the most part, for people with serious conditions, we were recommending it maybe even as often as every quarter or every few months. I was doing it every quarter because I have MS. Sometimes injections for younger people could last for years. And then other times, maybe every year or two, you would need a new one.
A booster. So what I think is interesting is that you said for young people, it could last a lot longer because young people are still, their stem cells are still being activated by their own body. But the older people needed injections every 3 months. So what's interesting about that is that it makes sense based on how David has made the X39 work, which is it's activating your own stem cells, right? And so once again, stem cells aren't dead, they're dormant. And so this gets it activated again for a whole lot cheaper. And what does it mean, Patty? You always talk about stem cells act like honing birds. What's that mean?
So they are just tuned in to hone in on inflammation. And so when they go to your when they're introduced into your body, they're going to just move, very carefully and decisively into the areas of greatest inflammation, which is what sometimes we see with the patch doing, and maybe someone doesn't feel better all of a sudden because we know it's going to an area, or at least I believe that with what we know, it's going to areas of greater inflammation. Maybe a liver's inflamed and you don't feel it, but that's where the stem cells are going first.
And then it will march to the next thing and the next thing. David says this, when you put young stem cells on old tissue, you turn the tissue young again. And I don't know, there's a lot of new people on the call, I can tell today. So you're like Timothy's just starting. Some of us have been on the X39 for 3 years now. And I will tell you this, we all started it. I did not start it to reverse my tissue age. I had no idea. I just was looking to feel good again and reverse some of the, honestly, for me, some of the symptoms of cancer, And, but to my delight, 3 years later, like the skin looks great. Like the elasticity of the skin after being on X39 is no joke. It changes, it gets young again. It doesn't, I'm just going to say personally, you get shine again. The elasticity around the jawline goes back to, like a young person, and you don't have the turkey neck anymore. I mean, just pay attention, ladies. I know guys don't probably really care, but you should. But I mean, I just think it's awesome. So let's go ahead real quick. I want to, before we move on to a few other patches, I just want to say how to wear this. You put this on below the back of your neck or underneath your belly button. Really, any spot will do because our whole body's light. The only rule is 12 hours on to activate and repair and 12 hours off. Let me say that again. 12 hours on to activate and repair and 12 hours off. This is because this is light. And if you wear this 24 hours over and over and over again, your body gets used to the signal and it doesn't work so well. So once again, the only rule is 12 hours on to activate and repair and 12 hours off. I have to tell you what Ted says. My turkey neck is about half as pronounced. And I've been on the patch. I missed it. I can't finish reading it. I love you, Ted. My turkey neck is about half as pronounced. I've been using the product. I've been using the product 6 months now. Jan, do me a favor. Go to, if you can figure this out, go to our startx39biz.com under join Telegram and put the link in chat for the before after pictures so people can join Telegram, click the link, you can be in the group. And more importantly, and put your phone number in there. Anybody that wants to give Jan a before and after picture of a turkey neck, we'll put it in the before and after group Telegram because that would be super fun. So turkey necks to Jan, turkey necks activate right to Jan. Why not? And I do believe Kathy might have opened up Telegram, the before and after pictures, so you could put your before and after picture in. And that could be anything. That can be of your face. That could be of the scar. That could be of the acne that changed. If you guys go look at the before and after pictures, pictures, tell 1,000 words, right? It just is what it is. So, and then if you can figure out how to do that Telegram link, I hope you can figure that out. That would be great. I am going to quickly show you guys, if you're new on the call and a practitioner, I know you like to see the research. So the website that has all of that, write this down, is startx39now.com. That's startx39now.com. Kathy Coker, if you could put that site in chat, so that the doctors that want to do research can. I'm just going to show you a few points that you'll want to go look at for your research, and I'm going to share screen that right now for you all. Give me one moment, please. So once again, this is startx39now.com. We are in some different languages. We just added Chinese. So if you have some practitioner friends that are doing business in Asia, that we're in English, Spanish, Deutsch, and Chinese. The first video is all about light. And so if you want to understand how light technology works, there you go. That's great. Then the second video is just a quick 3-minute video on how stem cells work. Here's what you'll like, doctors, on the patents and studies. Just click the tab right here. And you can go for an example and look at all the different studies. This is what Dr. Patty did. And you can go right here to the X39 patent and just look it up yourself, right? I know you guys like to do the research, so it's definitely right here. In the patent, it's a 20-year patent, and it says, yes, that X39 activates GHK in the blood, which stimulates stem cells. You cannot get a patent if it's not provable. So David loves patents. This is great. Age reversal with GHK. This is why Dr. Patty was injecting with GHK, because she knew the benefits of GHK, skin and hair, anti-cancer action. Interesting that GHK on its own is the #1 compound for metastatic colon cancer. I mean, that's crazy. Then we have lung protection, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory protection, brain and nerves. This is, and we'll have Dr. Patty talk in a moment. She has symptoms of MS. I'm sure that X39 helps with that. And then, of course, activating the stem cells. So that's everything GHK does. You'll like that website very much. And then this is just David Schmidt. That's our owner. And he's talking about the X39 technology, how it works, and all the issues it helps you with. You'll be surprised some of the issues that he talks about here. So you'll like this video. And then I love this too, because a lot of people say, well, I don't feel anything. Well, this chart explains what to expect, which is in the first few days, you're going to reset 4,000 genes to a younger, healthier state. Then 1 to 3 months, you're going to balance that brain. 3 to 6 months is when you're going to turn into the cells to repair your issues in your body, whatever that is for you personally. And in 6 to 12 months is when there was a study that showed reverse in age by 8 years of 14 out of 15 people. So that is a great chart. And then if you want to come to our testimonial calls, that shows you the calls and how to get there, even Spanish tonight. And this is another favorite that we've just added just for practitioners. David Schmidt explains X39 research with health practitioners. So if you actually want to go look at the studies with David, this is wonderful. And lastly, if you want to look at our other technologies, maybe there's some other technologies other than X39 that you want to know about. This would be where you would research that. And of course, we love Horses Don't Lie, because this is showing that horses within 5 minutes stop quivering when they wear David's technology. And it's a great video. So I do like to show you all how to look at the site, to pull the information for yourself and also to direct others. Once again, that's at startx39now.com. Okay, so Dr. Patty, let's talk a little more about symptoms of MS and a few of the other patch technologies that you like and why.
Yes, well, I think it's really important to use X39 and X49. Those are always our base, our go-to, and I think the synergy from that to some of the supporting patches is very phenomenal, really. And again, I'm just sharing this with you really today as a patient and sharing with you what I do with my patients. It's sort of a physician, heal yourself, but I'm a patient and a physician. And I hope my suffering and some of my symptoms that are very uncomfortable maybe can be helpful and be of some good and for this world and the glory of God. But I'll be happy to share anything I can. I feel like that for me, one of my biggest symptoms of MS is pain. And it particularly was bad at night. And so when I started in with the patches, I started in with X39 and Icewave, or what I started with. And I was just blown away by the way that Icewave works so effectively. For me, the first night, about 50% of my pain was reduced. And then the second night, I moved it around a little bit. There's great information on site about it. And I moved the patches, did a little differently using a whole body patch approach. And I now have reduced my pain about 80 to 90% at night, which is just incredible and phenomenal. Wow. And I have a new story about shingles, and I'll tell that maybe later if we have time. But I do think that Icewave, because it interrupts that pain signaling pathway, and it works with sort of the white patch and a brown patch. So there's that electrical connection as well, and it interrupts that, and it's just amazing.
So let me explain how the Icewave works, and then we do want to hear about shingles. I mean, who doesn't want to hear about shingles? Okay, so I don't know why, but I'm just happy today. Do you ever have a day where you're just happy? Yeah, it's just funny. I like happy days. Okay, so let's talk about Icewave. So you put the brown patch where you hurt the most. Where do I hurt? Well, a lot of you know I broke my wrist. So my wrist hurts a lot. So boom, you put it right where it hurts. And you put the white patch, kind of 3 inches away, or I like to say where it doesn't hurt as much. I like to say what I do with Icewave is I block my pain, or I bookend my pain. Does that make sense? Bookend your pain. That kind of makes sense. Where am I where's my pain and how am I gonna bookend it? Because what this does is it works like a battery charger, right? Have you guys ever used a battery charger? Negative on one spot, positive on the other. David says pain's in the connective tissue. So you break the connection of pain with Icewave. So that's what I believe. Dr. Patty, where did you put your Icewave? Oh, there you are.
So, yep. So the protocol recommended on the website is what I started with. And I put 2 patches, one under each foot, the white on the right, the brown on the left. And then I started on my wrists, and then ultimately moved up to right here, sort of on the side of my elbow. And then I sort of alternate a bit, but mostly use now up at the shoulder. So it's like I've got 2 on my shoulder, 2 on the bottom of my feet. And I bookmark all of my pain, and it is very effective every night.
It's interesting that you should say that, because that's a new word. You guys might want to write that down as practitioners. Bookend the pain. What does that mean? I bookend my pain. Dr. Patty bookend her pain too. She just has full body, she has pain. You ready? From the shoulders to the feet. So what did she do? She did a set of Icewaves on the shoulder, and she did a set on the bottom of her feet. She bookended a huge spot of pain for her. I think that's really good, Patty. And so that is Icewave. And so of course, Icewave is going to cut the pain. It's not going to repair, right? X39 is your reparative patch, but shoot, isn't it great to get rid of pain while the X39 repairs? But David has talked about it calming the nervous system down as well. And I think that's interesting because there's a lot of nervous system issues. So in that way, you're going to calm the nervous system. And my guess is shingles is a virus that runs up and down the nervous system. So let's talk a little bit about the shingles. What was the story with that, Patty?
Well, it's another personal story that I have. And it's not just as we get older, we get shingles. There are so many young patients now, young people in their 20s and 30s getting shingles. So I think this is really important for all of us as practitioners, and even other nerve pain, like my patient with the jaw pain or whatever the kind of pain might be that they would have anywhere in their body. But for the shingles itself, I think because it's such a nerve pain, and most people describe it, and I get mine right here. This is a very common area, sort of in the upper ribs, and it wraps around sort of to the back of the body. And you just feel like you want somebody to stick their elbow in it, literally. And it sounds weird. Pain, you want somebody to do that, but it's that kind of deep, boring nerve pain. And I have not had that while I've been doing what I've been doing the last several months, but it did start to come back several days ago. And I get it recurring normally more frequently than what I've been doing since I've been on the patch. So I've been very helpful. Disappointed a little bit that it came back, but I thought that's okay. Let me see. And I'm going to try my Icewave patches. And so I immediately put them on, bottom of my feet, top of my shoulders. And it didn't really, maybe a tiny bit, but not really help with the pain. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add 2 more right here at the elbows, because sometimes I alternate between elbows and shoulder. So I did have 6 patches on that night, but I promise you, it took away most of that pain, that 80 to 90%. I couldn't even believe it. That's like impossible in the medical world. That's all I could say. And so I've used it now for 3 nights, and I've slept. It takes it away, and I don't really have it much in the day. And so I'm good. I can keep myself off, but I'm on my other patches. Maybe they're helping with that too. And tonight I'm going to go back to and try my normal, my feet and my shoulders. So I'll let you know. But it's just, again, this is my own testimony, my experience, but it's working.
My girlfriend, and I've never had symptoms of shingles at this point, knock on wood, but my girlfriend had it. And she's like, Marci, there is nothing, it feels like you got fire going up your nerves. Like, I had no idea. So the virus must, and doctor, you know this better than I do, but it must move up and down the nerves. Is that right? And the virus is causing the nerves to hurt. Is that kind of what's happening with that?
Yeah, so basically it's a reactivation of herpes zoster, which is chicken pox, but you don't get chicken pox, you get shingles as we get older. So once you've had chicken pox or had the vaccine, then later, and those herpes zosters stay at the root of your nerve, and they just are happy. They don't cause any trouble. But then someday, for some people, they decide to migrate up the nerve. And as they do, that's what causes the pain. Yeah, exactly.
So my question to you is, just wondering, let's just talk about a few other patches, because I would think for that kind of migration, glutathione would be really good to help actually get at the root of that, as well as probably I would push where's my Alavida with that too. And I'll tell you why, and you tell me what you think. Glutathione is your master antioxidant and your master detoxification pathway. And it's like the polar outer of all yuck, like fungus, virus, mold, toxins. I mean, this is no joke. This is going to pull all that stuff out through your skin. You may defecate it out. You may have a headache. I mean, you can detox with glutathione, but it's very powerful. It's your own body's kind of like fighter of all that stuff. And so glutathione, just like X39 and Icewave, this is just a 1-patch system. And you can just put it right below the back of your neck, under your belly button. Any spot will do. But most people need to, oops, there it went. Most people need to start with, isn't it great that these are so easy to use? They can just flick out of your hand. That's how simple it is. With a half a patch, and just wear it for maybe 3 hours. And then the next day, wear the other half a patch on glutathione. This is the only one you need to really titrate up on, because there is a detox with glutathione, because let's be honest, we live in a really toxic world these days. And so glutathione is going to pull all that out. So my thought for you, Dr. Patty, this would be where the Icewave is calming the nerves. Glutathione and X39 might actually get at the little buggers. You know what I'm saying? Thoughts on that?
I agree. I'm going to have to move because I've got some noise outside.
Okay. So as she's moving, I'll explain Alavida as well, and then maybe she can give us some thoughts on that. So once again, glutathione is your master antioxidant pathway and your master detox pathway. Okay, so it's going to be the main pathway that's in charge of pulling those little critters out. What do I mean again? Fungus, mold, toxins, viruses. Glutathione takes no prisoner. And for me personally, I have bacterial issues. I have a really hard time with that. And I started wearing glutathione. It pulled it right up my spine, out my back. It was crazy. And so I know those bacteria like move up and down the nervous system. It's really interesting. Like that's just what happens. So this will pull it out. Also, when I say it's a master antioxidant pathway, I like to explain what that means. So you know that antioxidants go after something called free radicals, but a lot of people are like, well, what's that? Well, free radicals are like from the bad water, maybe chemicals in your environment, those cause free radicals. Even just the movement of your body, the energy from the movement of your body causes free radicals. Just like driving a car, the energy off driving the car is exhaust. You see the difference? So what something like glutathione does is it neutralizes those free radicals. And so that's really important to have that neutralization. Have you ever heard a doctor say an apple a day keeps the doctor away? That's because apples are antioxidants. They're going after free radicals. So this is just a super powerful one. Aloe vera is also a powerful antioxidant. Aloe vera you wear actually right between your eyebrows. And so most people wear this during the night because you would look like a dork if you were walking around like this all day long. And aloe vera actually also reduces oxidative stress in 5 minutes. What's oxidative stress? Massive free radical damage. Okay, that is why the energy scan, David does research on people that wear aloe vera go from a dark purple with holes to a beautiful turquoise. That's why the bright color. Your energy signature after 5 minutes looks like aloe vera turquoise. Who doesn't want to look like that? That's pretty. And so that's also going to help with those little critters that Patty's talking about at the root of the spine, right? So let's talk a little bit about what else aloe vera does. It works with X39 to make your skin glow, soft, and elastic. I actually believe the reason so many of us women are looking so good is because we wear a combination of X39 and aloe vera. These two are no joke. So Dr. Patty, let's go back to the critters that are on the root of the nerves that you're having all this pain with. So far we were talking about symptoms of shingles, and that the symptoms of shingles, Dr. Patty has been wearing, she's been blocking the pain with 3 ice waves. That's 3 applications of a brown and a white, a brown and a white, and a brown and a white on her shoulders, at her elbows, at her feet. And that's been getting some of that nerve pain gone. And I said, well, what does she think about that? The ice wave's gonna calm the nerves, but what about actually like getting at those critters? And I was explaining that I thought getting at the critters would be aloe vera, glutathione, X39. Oh, you know, the other one that would get at the critter is Aeon, because Aeon actually reduces inflammation. It activates a peptide in your liver that stops inflammation. By the way, this is the royal jelly as well. So this is the queen bee jelly, the reason queen bees live 50% longer than worker bees. And so this is a longevity patch, but also inflammation is an eater of stem cells. So David says always wear these together because that will turbocharge X39 to work better. So listen to this, Patty. This is what I'm liking. We're gonna use aloe vera and glutathione to get at the critters. We're gonna use ice wave to get at the pain. And we're gonna use Aeon to stop inflammation so those little critters fall off the nerves. How do you like that? Bye-bye. Oh, there's no inflammation for them to stick to. Bye-bye. And then, of course, X39 for your stem cell and repair. So I just went through a lot. But what do you think about these particular patches that I've just kind of talked about?
I agree with all of that. I don't know if people can hear me okay. I've still got some background noise. So
We can
okay.
hear you perfectly.
Okay, all right.
Let's move first to glutathione because I did, as you were walking, I was just kind of talking. Go ahead.
I use actually all of those patches, and at night I use the aloe vera I use Carnosine pretty much every night as well, and Aeon. And I've experimented going back and forth day and night with them. And I definitely think, in fact, the first night, I forgot to say, I actually put my Aeon patch, I put it right on my rib, somewhere. The pain sort of all around, but I just stuck it on there too, because I love what Marci's saying. As functional medicine and regenerative practitioners, like all of us are here, we want to get to the root of the problem, right? We don't want to just treat a pain up here. We don't want to just treat somebody with a sleeping pill. We don't want to treat somebody with, trying to give them a big drug for one symptom, like let's say depression or whatever. We want to get to the root of the problem. And so when we can reduce inflammation while at the same time we're managing the symptoms that a patient might have or we might have, that's the perfect match. So I completely agree with what Marci said. And I think that that's part of the art and the science of these patches. And I love that.
So thank you, Dr. Patty, because I'm not a doctor, but Dr. Patty is. And so that it just feels so good to know that as we're moving through these technologies that, Dr. Patty with the background's like, yes, that makes sense. Yes, that's for nerve. Yes, glutathione's going to get those critters. Yes, Aeon's going to stop the inflammation. Nothing's going to stick if you don't have inflammation. I think sometimes we don't talk about inflammation enough, doctor. I mean, inflammation really is the root of the different processes in your body that are not going well, chronic inflammation. So let's talk a little bit about Aeon and inflammation. Tell me a little more about what your opinion is on inflammation to the body.
So I think inflammation is probably our biggest issue currently in everything that we have and do in our lives, because we have toxic air, toxic water, toxic food. We have sometimes just toxic environments in general. Maybe someone's living in a place where there was water damage, so you've got mold. So all of those things cause our body to respond, right? And our body's great. It's doing just what God made our body to do, to take care of us and to respond and to produce anti-inflammatory molecules to help us. But what happens is sometimes we get an overdrive and we have too much going on. And so that gives us a chronic inflammation. When you cut your finger, you want it to be red and a little swollen. That tells you that your immune cells are going to the finger to heal it, right? But you want that to go away. And in our world, sometimes it's just seems to be chronic stress, chronic toxic exposures, and it's very difficult. And so that's why we want to, if we can in any way, quell inflammation, stop that inflammation, but go to the root and try to figure out what's happening. So I think it makes great sense to look at Aeon. I forgot to mention glutathione. I do use that during the day. I use it about 2 to 3 times a week. And I had to build up with that one. And that's the only one outside of the energy patches that I had to build up with. But I do think that Aeon is our great anti-inflammatory. I think glutathione helps to get rid of a lot of the toxins. So we're getting to the root of our issues, right? And so it makes sense to use these in conjunction always with our X39 and 49, because those are our repair patches.
I love that, Dr. Patty. Yeah, it's just, so good. So good. We're so blessed. Oh, and this is the last patch we'll talk about today, because I do want the last few minutes to tell you how a few of my practitioners are setting up their offices to give you ideas. And Jan, you need to stay here and make sure your number's there, because I'm going to have practitioners call you to ask how to do it, because I haven't fully got that written up in our business site yet. So Jan works full time for me. She's also a presidential director, and she runs all the logistics of our business. And so who you gonna call when you need some help? That would be Jan. So Carnosine is really a cool patch. It supports every organ in your body. Let's talk about organs: heart, brain, kidney, spleen, colon, liver. That's carnosine. And carnosine is a protector of telomeres. So a lot of you practitioners know what that is. Telomeres are like the lady fingers on your DNA. And when they stub down to nothing, you're dead. When they're long and beautiful, you look like you're 20. So let's protect our telomeres. Yes. So that would be what carnosine does. So I love that Dr. Patty talked about that. So those are some of the different patches. I did want to explain the next 5 minutes. We will explain how some of the offices are setting up, and you may call if you're a practitioner, Jan Rand, and she'll help you with that. If you are a rep helping a practitioner get set up, you may also call Jan Rand and she'll help. And I'm just going to say what Dr. Lisa, who is an MD as well, she's a pain management doctor. She has been setting her office up with what we call little pop bags, pop the spot of pain bag. And she gets a little bag like this. It's our practitioner bag. And then she ordered business cards, and Jan will facilitate all of this for you. And you know, you'd have to fund that, but the business cards cost all of $50 for 250. And it would be Dr. Lisa's picture, her website for ordering. And on the back, it's the Now site, and explains on the card that this is a wearable light technology, and stem cells are the only cells in your body that are changeable. They can change into any cell your body needs for repair, like when you were 20. So Dr. Lisa said, great, make me those cards. She uses these business cards as a brochure, right? And then she decided she wanted to have a little sample. So she paid for a few sleeves to go to Jan. She paid for her business cards to go to Jan. And Jan made them all up for her, shipped them to her, and then shipped the rest of the supplies to her, of course, because she paid for them all. And what she decided to make was something called a one pop bag. So in her pop, she has a X39 and an Icewave. And because her patients are all pain patients. So she pops the spot of pain with her patients, and then she signs them up either on a silver protocol or a gold protocol in the office. So it's a one pop, then it's a sign up to a protocol. Now, I have another doctor that's only popping one X39. So she's using this with an X39, no Icewave. And where do you get all of this? Well, you call Jan and she can help you make those bags so you can do that. But that information also, just so you know, our business site is startx39biz.com. That's startx39biz.com. And that's where you would find everything on our business. So we run two sites, startx39now.com, to explain everything about the patch, and startx39biz.com, where you can get all your tools. Now, remember, if you don't know how to facilitate through all of this, there's where Jan is. You will also get your own replicating site. So like Dr. Patty has an assistant that puts all the orders in and they ship to her patients, and the company pays Dr. Patty a thank you check for doing the work. And the company ships her patients like Amazon. Okay, so great. It's just like the new distribution model that everybody's used to. Awesome. So how do you do that? Well, you go to startx39biz.com. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to tab number 9, take the order. And in fact, Jen, when you do the practitioner bags, you could even print a few of these off for the practitioners. Most of my practitioners like the protocol, the silver kit protocol form. So that's the one. We were talking about the protocols, the pain and repair, the detox, the skincare, the sleep, and the hormone. In fact, Dr. Patty created all of these to help practitioners, right? And so you just click a protocol for your patient, $299, a 30-day money-back guarantee. And then, of course, one X39 the following month only to keep their stem cells activating. So the kit's only a one-time kit. And then the auto ship is just one sleeve the following month. there's also the Dr. Lisa likes the Gold Kit protocol because she gives them a 3-month supply of X39 and Icewave. That's she calls that one of the pain and repair. So she actually does a protocol a little different than this, but this is an example of a gold protocol that you could actually put your clients on for $4.99 and then one X39 the following month. So you can print some of these protocols out, and that allows you to actually get your patients signed up. Now, you can, okay, so does everybody understand? There's only a few things that you need for a doctor's office. You need a little business card that acts as a brochure. You need Jan to make them with some little, just a little, I call it pop the spot of pain, a little pop. And then she makes like 30. For Dr. Lisa, we did a little bag with 30 of these in here, easy. And then you need some silver kit and gold kit order forms. And so basically it's information, a pop, and taking an order. Then once you take the order, you're gonna have to figure out how to put it in your back office in order to ship it out. You can call Jan and she'll help you, or you can go to startx39biz.com under input an order, and it tells you right there how to do it in a 10-minute video. So with that, I hope that you're liking our practitioner call, and it's giving you ideas on how the different products work, but also some of the tools you can use to set up the offices and how you can connect to those tools where Jan can help you. Soon, like within a month, I'm going to have a button that is just the practitioner button, and it will just have everything in one place. I'm a little behind, but I want you to start getting your offices set up, even if my button isn't ready. So that's why Jan Rand's the button. Got that? Perfect. So with that, thank you so much for coming today. We will see you next week. Don't miss at noon, no, at 1 o'clock Pacific, we have Susan Allen interviewing Dr. Mel. Remember Dr. Mel from last month? She's amazing. Let me show you real quick how you get to that. Number is different than this number because it's Susan. It's the only Zoom that's different than our Zoom. But how do you find that? You go to startx39now.com. That's startx39now.com, and you look for the schedule. And let's go look at the schedule just to make sure you know where to find it. There it is. We just had our practitioner call today. That's where you would go, right? Susan Allen's call is the second Thursday of every month. That's how you connect to it. Then tonight we have Thursday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, our traditional testimonial call. And we have a new Spanish testimonial call every Thursday at 5 o'clock Pacific. So everything you need to know about how to plug in for more information is right on the Now site. I hope that you find that easy to find. And all of our recordings are on startx39biz.com under Join Telegram, under Be Activating, and you can join those Telegram links to find all the recordings. This will be on the Be Activating Practitioner Call recording link. Let's show you where that is real quick, just so you guys know. That's under the Biz site. And that's under, I think it's important to understand how to work the sites because this is how we work the business. So that is under Join Telegram, tab number 5, Join Telegram. And all you do is to get this recording, you just join the practitioner Telegram group and you just click the link. Now, if you have not joined Telegram, what are you going to do? You got to join it first with either Android or Apple, sign up for it, download your contacts, then come back here and click the link for the practitioner team. And while you're at it, don't forget to do the before and after pictures because that's awesome. And don't forget to do the Be Activating testimonials only and see the 3,000 testimonials over the last 3 years. That's awesome. And who are you going to call if you get confused on all of this? Jan Rand. She'll help you with everything. It's not hard. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll see you at the 1 o'clock call with Susan Allen and Dr. Mel today. We love you. Bye-bye.